Can you see this slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. To determine the hardness of a given water sample in terms of calcium and magnesium hardness using complexometric titration. Uh, Now, theory, as far as theory is concerned, it is very interesting theory as far as the details of this experiment, the chemistry involved is concerned. So I have what is this complexometric titration? What are complexometric titrations? You might have uh, uh, come across till date beforehand. Neutralization titration, acid-base titration, and those are called, and redox titrations. You are familiar with. You have used it in exercise number 1. That is percentage of available chlorine in bleaching powder. That is basically a redox titration. And sub class of redox titration is iodometric, titration, that was called. You remember that. So complexometric is another new type, which you might not have learned before 10 plus 2 level at earlier stage. So this is complexometric titration. What is complexometric titration? Complexometric titration is kilometry is a or kilometry is a form of volumetric analysis where the titration proceeds with the formation of a soluble undissociated stoichiometric complex at the equivalence point. The complexes are formed by the reaction of a metal ion, usually cation, with an anion or neutral molecule. The metal ion in the complex is called the central metal atom, and the donor atoms, molecules or anions that donate a pair of electrons to the central metal atom are called the ligands. In complexometric titrations, the titration of metals with polydentate ligands is exceptionally useful in comparison to monodentate ligands due to the formation of stable ring structure complexes with the metal ions. Ethylene diamine tetraestic acid. I'm again repeating the name. Most of the students I have come across are not able to, uh, tell the full name of the uh, abbreviation of the this reagent. EDTA is most commonly uh, uh, called, named abbreviation of ethylene diamine tetraestic acid. That is the most widely used polydentate complexing agent for the determination of hardness, although many other ligands, polydentate ligands can be used. You read about them separately. This is what I recommend. So dissociation constant values indicate that EDTA behaves as dicarboxylic acid. That is, two of its carboxyl groups are strongly acidic. The other two hydrogen atoms are released during complex formation as shown below. As shown in the discussion, ensuing discussion. You can make a diagram of the ligand and show that two hyd hydrogens uh, of carboxylic groups are strongly acidic. So what is what easily it forms? It easily forms complexes with using only two positions. That is as a bidentate, though it has capacity of six. It is hexadentate ligand, in fact. But most easily two most acidic hydrogens from the carboxyl groups. Out of 4 carboxylic groups, 2 are most readily available. So in the titration, what we use, since we use it as a reagent, we should have it in the solid form. Solid form. EDTA, pure in pristine form, is liquid. So its disodium salt is used. Disodium, Na2-EDTA, abbreviated simply Na2-EDTA. So disodium salt of EDTA used as a reagent. Remember, now only 4 positions are available, and that are more than enough to bind with the calcium and magnesium. You know, in order to express the hardness in terms of calcium and magnesium only, requires the understanding the concept of hardness is classical concept is that you have learned the hardness in terms of temporary and permanent hardnesses caused by various salts which contribute to the temporary hardness, and various salts which contribute to a permanent hardness. But here, once you are asked to explain the hardness in terms of calcium and magnesium only, it has been learned over the over last several decades. To sum up the understanding about hardness, that hardness is usually taken as only 99.99% hardness is considered to be due to contribution of calcium and magnesium cations only. So calcium and magnesium determining their concentration will do the job, and that's why this titration of EDTA titration, or complexometric titration of determination for determination of hardness, is uh, actually is international standard method of determination of hardness. It is international standard method, most standard. So there is no better technique. That's why this titration assumes more important than rest of the other methods to determine the hardness. And hardness is measured in terms of calcium and magnesium cations only. So how to go about it? Now we have understood that. And this calcium and magnesium, I should mention, this calcium and magnesium is actually permanent only. Okay. So remove your I want to clarify, remove your confusion regarding which type of calcium and magnesium you are going to determine. It is permanent only. We determine. So now this is the background. If it is not clear in before you, I'm clarifying it. These things are not explained in any book, by the way. So starting with the understanding that you are going to determine the hardness in terms of calcium and magnesium cations. That is universally accepted fact. Now, again coming to EDTA titration, EDTA as a reagent is used in, I have told you, commercially it is available in as Na2-EDTA, disodium salt, which is solid, which we can weigh and which we can dissolve in water easily. Being a sodium salt, it easily you can prepare its solution. This solution of EDTA, standard solution, is actually we dissolved by assuming a particular strength and then standardize it using a standard hard water of this EDTA solution is standardized by preparing a standard hard water. If you have your notebook before you, you can write down these things. Disodium salt of the EDTA is used as a reagent, and it is standardized by preparing a standard hard water. Write it in bold letters. Write in capital letters. What is standard hard water? If you don't understand it, then it will be difficult for difficult to uh, uh, understand further. The this methodology of this titration will be difficult to understand if you don't know what is standard hard water. Have you heard about it? Please tell me. Somebody should respond. Hello.
No, sir, not before. We have heard about it.
Please note it down. What is standard hard water? I will explain it right away. Before going further, uh, so this is the water. Actually, we know that calcium carbonate, which is taken as a standard, we express hardness in terms of CaCO3 equivalent. You know this. It is the fundamental thing in water chemistry, that everything is expressed as far as hardness and alkalinity is concerned. Both parameters are expressed in terms of CaCO3 equivalent. Why? Because CaCO, number one, CaCO3 has 100 molecular weight, 100, easy to convert each and every hardness causing substance into CaCO3 equivalent. And second, calcium carbonate is most commonly encountered precipitated salt in water analysis. This is the reason of using, you know this. Now, calcium carbonate, by the way, is precipitated. You understand? Calcium bicarbonate is soluble in water, temporary hardness causing calcium bicarbonate and magnesium bicarbonate. They are precipitated. So precipitate is insoluble. What is precipitated? When we boil the water, temporary hardness gets precipitated in the form of, say, calcium gets precipitated in the form of calcium carbonate. So calcium carbonate is insoluble in water, isn't it? Calcium carbonate is insoluble in water. And if by any means we dissolve it again in water, just by converting it, treating it with HCl, for example, you can convert it in calcium chloride, then it will get dissolved. So hardness itself has been standardized for water. So it has been decided, if we prepare a solution of 1000 ppm, that is 1 gram of CaCO3 dissolved in 1 liter of water, of course distilled water, I mean as pure as possible. Distilled water, you call it in the lab, we call it deionized water, sometime we call it. So distilled water and deionized water, if we dissolve 1 gram, then the strength of that 1 liter solution uh, would be 1000 ppm, and a solution of water with hardness of 1000 ppm is known as standard hard water. So simply, standard hard water is prepared by dissolving the CaCO3, which is not soluble commonly. So we treat it with minimum amount of dilute HCl, and it easily dissolves, and then we make it up in the volumetric flask and prepare in 250 cc. It will be 0.25, 1/4 of the 1000 cc. That is 1 liter. So for 1 liter, it is 1 gram. For 250 cc, it is 0.25 0.2500 gram. Okay, this is hard water, which is used to standardize the solution of the EDTA. Now, uh, indicator. This is the you have standardized the EDTA solution with the standard hard water, preparing a standard hard water and fill the burette with your EDTA. EDTA is taken in the burette. Now you have taken water sample. An indicator. Now coming to indicator. It's again very interesting to use an indicator which can also bind with calcium and magnesium present in water initially, and then uh, it should be able to get free. It should not be very strongly bonded with EDTA. Otherwise, how calcium and magnesium would we get? So calcium, in order to EDTA, in order to in order to get a complex of EDTA, soluble complex, calcium and magnesium EDTA complexes, we have to choose an indicator which by its own nature, its own change in constitution during the titration can liberate a color, can have a color when it is liberated from the calcium and magnesium. So in the water, we add indicator Eriochrome black tea. So what is Eriochrome black tea? It's a structure you can find in literature. Just you Google and you will find everything, in fact, about this titration. But let me explain it. In any case, Eriochrome black tea is indicator which forms a wine red color with calcium and magnesium. When you add this indicator in the water sample, definite quantity of water sample, it forms a wine red color complex. And then when you add the EDTA from the burette, um, at the end point, calcium and magnesium being more stronger metal ions to bind with EDTA, replace the indicator, and indicator in the liberated state assumes a in presence of these soluble complexes of calcium and magnesium present at that moment, it it gets separated and a blue color appears. So the end point is recognized by the appearance of blue color. That is the now we are still far away from understanding the mechanism of how this blue color, what kind of chemical species are present at the moment. This is very interesting chemistry, and you will find in very I mean rarest of rare discussions anywhere. I'm telling you, if you can tell, because this titration is simply, this complexometric titration is pH dependent, very much pH dependent. As you know, there are, I mean, 4 positions which are 4 donor sites which are available for calcium and magnesium. So pH, it is pH sensitive. Two carboxylic groups are there remaining, which will I mean get oxygen will bind with calcium and magnesium by displacement of proton at the of the carboxylic acid, and 2 nitrogens, of course, present in the EDTA. So 2 nitrogens, 2 oxygens, tetradentate behavior is expected in the formation of calcium and magnesium complexes, since already 2 sites are already occupied by sodium. So That is, stability constants of the complexes are very important. The pH is very important, which is regulated in this titration by using a ammonium hydroxide buffer. That buffer, basic buffer of pH 10, gives us the sharpest color. Sharpest change at the end point is only possible if the pH remains constant, and that should be 10. The requirement is exactly 10. So buffer solution is very important in this titration. Its role is extremely important in this titration. So pH 10 only this color change occurs. At pH 9, some other chemical species is present. Other color is possible. 11, 12, 13, 14. All um, uh, situations are actually present. Are actually present. To avoid that, the form of uh, the intermediate situations or forms of calcium and magnesium bound with EDTA in presence of idiochrome black tea is very confusing. Very confusing. We cannot get, though its titration is very straightforward, very successful method, it is so. pH 10 is mandatory. It is absolutely required to observe the color change from wine red to blue. That's the theory. And uh, how you go about it to titrate the water sample first in EBT, and then in presence of for calcium, another indicator muroxide uh, is used separately. Once we determine using for calcium, uh, in terms of calcium and magnesium can easily be identified in presence of EBT, and calcium uh, is observed, uh, accurately in same conditions. Everything's the same. Murex is used. So murex uh, has, is a similar in structure, almost similar in structure as EDTA, but its complex with EDTA is little, is formed at much higher pH. So that is again, that is again puts a question before us. Then at what, at this stage, when pH is 12.5, which chemical species of magnesium and indicator is present in the water? So it's not simple. Since we are measuring, if we want to measure calcium and magnesium together, just one titration is enough. Total hardness. If you want to determine the hardness separately, again in terms of calcium separately and magnesium separately, then murex helps. That is the chemistry. If you write the reactions involved, at the end point, the sharp color change I have explained is, blue color. How does it occur? How can we? Can you explain? If we are explaining, we are determining the total hardness, like calcium and magnesium together. There is one endpoint only, and at that point there is a competition between calcium and magnesium to bind with EDTA. So the question is, which cation out of these two, calcium and magnesium, lastly leaves at the last, exactly at the moment when ligand leaves and metal ion binds, whether it is calcium or magnesium. Yes, this is also the question. Which one is to leave last? Obviously, there is, the metal ion which will bind with ligand, which will bind with indicator, in this case EBT, more firmly will leave in the last moment. So it is very revealing thing that there is competition between calcium and magnesium also. So calcium binds more firmly with EDTA compared to magnesium, and calcium and magnesium binds more firmly with EBT, that is indicator, more firmly than calcium. That is also very interesting chemistry. And so the one which will bind with indicator more firmly will leave at the last moment. So last moment the color changes due to magnesium indicator complex breaking, and with the formation of magnesium forming the EDTA complex. So this situation is only for total. For total, for separate, we have to use another experiment, and then in this experiment, both things have been combined. In this experiment, whole theory has been combined in one experiment, so that you learn more uh, about both the indicators. You have some knowledge about both the indicators, that is Eriochrome black tea as well as Murexide also, which is similar to, behave similarly. So this is, I think, the basis of this titration, and it is dependent on, the stability of the uh, complex of calcium and magnesium with EDTA and with indicator. Of course, indicator itself behaves as a ligand. So first it binds and then EDTA replaces it. So you can, I'm stopping this. So let me explain further the theory. You have to consult from a very good text, of course, not the one which is given in the instruction manual. Instruction manual is just what we have given you, is just a brief thing. It is, it is nothing as compared to what we expect you to know. So instruction manual is just to help you in day-to-day work, except, it explains the procedure chiefly. It is not intended to give you the idea of the theory itself. Theory you have to, learn from various good, in detail and in various good sources. So now I have already explained to you in general that you standardize the EDTA by preparing a standard hard water solution by dissolving 250 milligram of CaCO3 in water with the help of dilute HCl, and then you titrate the standard hard water in presence of EBT, and you calculate the strength of the EDTA solution which you are using in this titration. This is first part of the titration. Then in second part, you will determine the total hardness by titrating the water in presence of EBT as explained. And third part is third titration rather, just you will use Murexide indicator in presence of some reagents like half test tube of NaOH to change the pH to 12.5. So all these things are, though look very simple, and you calculate the total hardness in terms of course, it would be calcium and magnesium. In terms of calcium and magnesium as CaCO3 equivalent, and calculation you will use. So observations, hypothetical observations of preparation of the standard hard water is given in this as a data are provided to you. You can use this data for calculation so that everybody gets to the same answer, and which we can verify. Which we can verify that yes, we have got the correct hardness. We have calculated the hardness correctly. So again, the value for standardization of EDTA solution against standard hard water solution is given. Data are given. Again, titration value for total hardness is given. Again, titration values for calcium hardness of unknown water sample given. Sample is one only. Same sample is used for total hardness. Same sample is used for calcium hardness separately, and calculations are formula is given, and result you have to report in terms of total hardness of the given water sample, then calcium hardness of the given water sample, that is total minus calcium is total minus mm, uh, calcium is magnesium hardness. So all the you have to report the result of the given water sample as total hardness, and calcium and magnesium hardness separately. Now I am stopping this explanation of this experiment. I have explained you the theory as much as possible, barring the reactions involved, that I will expect from good students to write the chemistry involved at the end point. Exactly. If you write that, only that you explain me, I will I will give you full sessional marks. To the student, I'm announcing that I will give you the student who will explain me the chemistry involved in the EBT, the EDTA titration at pH 10, what is happening actually, which chemical species is present at the endpoint. I think if I would be examiner uh, in your end semester, I will not ask you many questions. I would be very happy if you will uh, share this with me. So you have to search and find. It is more important than calculating the hardness. It is very simple. Everything is given. You spend half an hour or maximum 1 hour in writing the experiment. Write the theory in brief, but write exact reactions, and read more about polydentate ligands. What other substitute, alternatives to EDTA can be uh, there? Uh, Maybe if you will search, you will find definitely. These engineering chemistry books are not sufficient. I am telling you, for this titration, you will not find anything worthwhile to understand the chemistry involved in this titration. It requires a full lecture in theory to explain this titration. So you can understand its importance. Oh, sorry. So any questions?
Sir?